everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a 2-page layout, and this one is inspired by a layout that was in the Scrapbook Cards Today magazine, the winter 2022 issue, and it was one that was done by Victoria Calvin. And what I really liked about Victoria's layout is that traditionally, when I do 2 pages, the background papers are the same. So there's always that very specific cohesiveness with the background papers. But Victoria's did not use background papers that were the same. So she's actually, it's all from the same collection, but the background colors are different. And even some of the shapes and the angles are a little bit different, but everything is still cohesive because it uses the same elements from that one collection. And she was using, I think it was a Simple Stories Valentine's Day collection. I'm using a Pink Fresh collection, and I think I might have thrown in something extra as well. I kind of can't remember, but I really liked the colors that all went together with this, and I had gotten some of the floral embellishments from that collection, and I really wanted to use what I had from my stash, because again, I was actually making this during the month of March when I was doing my scrapbook no spend month. So I really wanted to make sure that I was using my items wisely. And since I didn't have doubles of the pattern paper, and I mean, I guess I could have done cardstock, doubles of cardstock, but I just really liked the way Victoria created a cohesive 2-page layout, but without needing to have doubles of the pattern papers. So what I'm doing first is I'm actually doing the right-hand side of the page, which I usually don't start with the right-hand side when I'm doing 2-page layouts. But for this one, I don't know, it just felt right to start with the right-hand side. And it was a little bit easier because I didn't have to cut something at an angle for the left-hand side, which you'll see in a few minutes. But basically, I've got a 12 by 12 piece of the pink and white striped paper, and then I cut, I want to say maybe it's 3 inches of that blue on blue paper, and then I added some washi tape strips. It's not really washi tape, but they're the paper sticker strips from a Simple Stories paper sticker book. That's the word I'm looking for. I added some of those kind of to just add, I guess, like a border where the 2 pattern papers collide. And it kind of looks like they're coming at from the top and they're a little bit staggered. It's a little bit different than what Victoria did. She's got a piece of, I guess, washi tape kind of going from the top to the bottom on her layout. But I didn't have something that was long enough like that. So again, I'm just using items that I had from my stash and we're making it work. And another stash item that I had was a Simple Stories frame. Victoria's layout, if you don't have the magazine, that winter 2022 issue, she uses Simple Stories photo frames to go on top of her photos. She's actually got 4 photos. I'm only using 3 for this layout. So I've got 2 frames that are separate. And so I've cut my 2 photos for this side so that they fit underneath those frames. And I like to use glue dots to stick those chipboard frames down, and even to stick the photos to the chipboard frame, because I just think it gives it a little more stickiness. And the adhesive squares that I use are just not super sticky when it comes to chipboard and the heavier pieces of embellishments. So now I'm kind of trying to figure out what else I can add, layering up these floral embellishments. Again, I'm veering away from Victoria's layout a little bit because I'm kind of bringing my elements in and doing things a little bit differently, but the basic idea of her 2-page layout is definitely still there. It was really great inspiration. So thank you to Victoria. If you're watching, if you're out there, I don't know if she has a YouTube channel. I should check that out and see, because that would be really fun to watch some of her processes and then see her layouts appear in the magazine. So the camera up there is actually from an old Chamel travel-themed layout or travel-themed collection. I got this sticker pack from Paper Issues last year when I purchased one of their summer warehouse boxes. And so I'm now just getting around to using these. I've also got another Simple Stories little phrase sticker kind of that I'm going to be sticking out there. Nothing is stuck down yet because I need to see where everything is going to be and make sure that I like where I'm putting it before I add all the adhesive. Because I'm really trying to do a lot of layering up of embellishments and using items from my stash, I'm cutting out some Simple Stories tags from the 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to ink the edges in black to make them stand out a little bit more, and I'm going to use those tags as part of my embellishment layering. And I think that's pretty much, I'm pretty much happy with everything and where it's going to go. So now it's going to get to the point where I'm going to start sticking things down onto the page. And as always happens, I try not to move things too much, but sometimes things just have to get moved, and I don't get everything exactly in the same spot that I had it before, but if it's close enough, it's close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to look good to my eye, at least, and hopefully it looks good to your eye as well. Let me know down in the comments how often you make 2-page layouts, and if you do 2-page layouts, are they 12 by 12 spreads, or do you scrapbook in a smaller size? And if you are new to this channel, I hope that you're enjoying this video and that it is helpful for you, and that if you have any questions about the products I'm using or the techniques you see me doing, you leave those questions down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you're already a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back to the channel and watching this video all the way to the end. I hope that you are enjoying it. And I've got some enamel dots. I just love adding enamel dots to layouts. I know it kind of got off track there, but I just love enamel dots. They're so fun, except when I can't give them off the plastic backing. I've said it before, I do not understand. And unfortunately, the glue dots that I have are too big to fit like flat behind an enamel dot. Normally I would get like the mini dots, but I purchased some from Michael's a couple weeks ago and they didn't have any of the minis. So I had to get like the regular sized glue dots. And I mean, I can roll it up into a little ball, but you can definitely tell there's a difference between the enamel dots with the adhesive still stuck on them and the enamel dots that have my glue dots on the back. But that's okay. Like I said before, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be pleasing to you. So now I'm on to the left-hand side of the page. And this side, as you can see, the background is not the same stripe. It's a floral pattern. And then I've got this big palm tree pattern that I'm going to use, and I'm going to angle it on the diagonal, which is how Victoria had hers in the original layout. The bad thing about cutting things on a diagonal, like making these big triangles with a 12 by 12 size paper, is that it doesn't fit in my paper cutter. So I had to bring my ruler out and do the best I could to draw a straight line with the ruler and do the best I could to cut it out by hand. I think I was successful, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? But that's going to be on the bottom of the page. So on the other side, there was a contrast with 2 patterns on the vertical, and this is a contrast of 2 patterns on the horizontal, but with a little bit of an angle. So I really like that visual difference. Victoria had, I want to say she maybe fussy cut something, like a big bunch of flowers from a 12 by 12 piece of paper. I didn't have anything like that, so I just tried to kind of recreate similar embellishment clusters going along the diagonal, the top left and the bottom right. And again, using some of the same pieces that I used on the other side, Simple Stories tags, the pink fresh flowers, of course, the enamel dots. And on this side, I have a Simple Stories frame, but it's only a frame for a single photo. So this is where my third photo gets its own frame, but I'm still, it's still very cohesive because all 3 of these frames were from the same Simple Stories collection. So we still have the same elements from one page to the next. It's just not identical, and it's not a mirror image either, which I do that a lot. I think that's a very easy way to make 2-page layouts. If you just do a mirror image, or you take one design and you kind of rotate it for the second page. But this is kind of going like outside of my wheelhouse, outside of my comfort zone when it comes to 2-page layouts, and I really enjoy it. And like I said before, if you don't have doubles of the pattern papers, or you don't have doubles of a solid color cardstock, it doesn't matter, because as long as you have, I did this with 3 pattern papers. So I had 2 12 by 12s, the flowers and the stripes, and then the paper with the pink palm trees that you're looking at. The back side, the B side, is what I used on the other side of this layout. So all I had was 3 pieces of pattern paper, and I created a 2-page layout. Isn't that kind of amazing? I think that's amazing. My daughter's standing right here. Do you think that's amazing?
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, she's been working down here with me. She's on spring break when I'm recording this, and she was working on my work laptop playing a little spelling game, and she came over as soon as not long after I started this voiceover, and she pointed over to the computer, and it had like a funky screen, like it had been broken or something. She's really, really into the prank of finding a broken screen YouTube video, making it large so that it takes up the entire screen and it looks like your computer screen is broken. That's the second time she's played that little trick on me. So it's pretty funny. Anyway, here I am just, piecing down all of my pieces. I've got my Simple Stories tag there. I think I still inked that with black stamp. My what's it called? My Hampton Art black ink pad for stamps, but I use it to ink the edges of paper and embellishments as well. And I'm going to be doing the journaling right on that frame because it does have a journaling spot. It's a little slick, so I would be a little careful if you're doing journaling and you're using I guess anything that's not like a ballpoint pen, but I don't really use ballpoint pens to do my journaling. I have Zig Writers and I have the pens from Creative Memories. So I would just be a little bit careful if you're using something like that to do the journaling on these slick surfaces because it can smudge if you're not careful. So now, I'm just trying to piece everything back together. I had it the way I liked it, and now I've had to move a few things. The title of this is actually going to be that Hello Sunshine sticker, which I got from Simple Stories sticker collection or sticker sheet, I think it was. I want to say it was the Boho Summer one. It wasn't Retro Summer. I think it was Boho Summer. But isn't this nice how I'm mixing stuff from summer collections with stuff from spring collections? They're not even the same manufacturer, but I'm using up things from my stash, and that makes me really, really happy. And so now we get to the point where, again, I'm adding more of those enamel dots. I don't know, I can't remember who makes those specific enamel dots. I want to say they're probably Pink Fresh, but they could also be Simple Stories. I took my enamel dots out of the packaging, so I don't have the labels or anything for me to double check. But I know that these enamel dots were just, again, part of my stash, but I liked that the colors sort of matched with the colors in the pattern papers and everything else. So I'm just using them, right? And I like to do them in clusters of 3 for the most part, like a big one, a medium one, and a small one. I just think it gives it more visual interest. And then there's always the rule of 3, which is kind of what you're supposed to always go for when you're making art. Scrapbook pages are a form of art. So if you can group things in 3s, that's always really helpful. Although sometimes with embellishments, the larger embellishments, I like to just go all out and layer up as many as I can because I've been tutored by Shamel in her YouTube live videos, and that's what she does sometimes. So rule of 3, unless you don't want to do it, and then you can do whatever you want because it's your scrapbook page and you're the one who's going to be looking back through it in your albums. So make sure that you're creating something that works for you. Who cares about the art rules, right? These are the close-ups. You can see things in a little bit more detail and dimension. Again, I hope that this video was inspiring for you and that if you enjoyed watching it, you give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next week for more scrapbooking. Happy scrapbooking today. Bye.
Bye.